Hi everyone, we're excited to introduce you to the world of macroinvertebrates along the Teton River.
The first question we want to ask is, what are macroinvertebrates?
Yeah, what are they?
Macroinvertebrates are little organisms that are big enough to be seen with the naked eye. They have no backbone. Some are crustaceans and worms, but mostly they are aquatic insects.
There can be thousands of macroinvertebrates in 1 square meter in the Teton River. Dr. Ryan Sargent from BYU, Idaho can confirm this. In 2020, his group of students collected square meter samples. They often found 1,000 macroinvertebrates before they gave up counting.
Macroinvertebrates are often indicator species. Stoneflies, caddisflies, and mayflies are all common indicator macroinvertebrates in many rivers worldwide, including the Teton River.
Most indicator species tell us or indicate if the river is healthy. If there are a lot of these species in the Teton River, we can infer the river is in good condition. If there are not very many macroinvertebrates, or if we only see a few types of macroinvertebrates in this environment, the ecosystem may be out of balance.
Why are they indicator species?
Macroinvertebrates differ in their tolerance to pollution, which helps us to understand how clean a river is.
These organisms are indicators because they are sensitive to water conditions, such as dissolved oxygen, pH, substrate conditions, which is the surface or material on which organisms grow, turbidity or cloudiness, and chemical and biological pollutants. In short, the distribution and abundance of macroinvertebrates found in the waters of the Teton River tells us something about the health of the watershed.
Wow, that's cool.
Our group wondered if weather affects the indicator species and the flow of water in the Teton River.
Yes, weather affects flow rates. Fast, deep-flowing water from precipitation and runoff is colder water which better holds oxygen. More oxygen means more macroinvertebrates. Seasonal conditions play a role as well, as the water temperatures change. High spring runoff also increases the sediment load and turbidity, which is the major pollutant that contaminates the Teton River. Watch out, little buddies.
Yikes!
If the oxygen levels are low, macroinvertebrates won't be able to reproduce, causing fear of these creatures. This also indicates the water is not as healthy as it could be.
How do these compact little creatures contribute to the food chain of the Teton River?
Macroinvertebrates are a major source of food for all the fish in the Teton River.
Yummy.
No macros, no fish. Well, maybe there'd be a sucker fish, but who would want to eat a sucker? Fish in the Teton River are major contributors to the food chain for many larger animals in Idaho.
Who decides the flow rate of the Teton River?
Government organizations, for example, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Idaho Fish and Game, the U.S. Forest Service, and the BLM determine the amount of water released from reservoirs. These groups have administrative control over water release. They raise and lower water mostly for agricultural reasons. This fluctuation of water can be harmful to the Teton River.
How does the river flow affect macroinvertebrates?
Macroinvertebrates need to be under certain amounts of water to reproduce. If there's not enough water, then they will have less babies.
That could be a problem.
Flow rates of the Teton River have remained fairly constant over the past 30 years. However, as population, recreation, and agricultural needs change, it is important to maintain constant flow rates.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast. We'd like to thank Travis Phillips, educator at Madison High School and macroinvertebrate expert, Professor Ryan Sargent from BYU, Idaho, and a Teton River monitor, Roger Olson, scientist at large, as well as Mixkit.co for awesome sound effects.
Next time you are walking by, floating on, or wading through the Teton River, look closely and maybe you'll catch a glimpse of a caddisfly or even a stonefly, indicating the Teton River is a great place to be.